What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Hope you're all having a great day. My name is Brian, and today we're going to go over the Michigan USC game that's going to be happening in about 17 hours and 20 minutes or so from the time of this recording. Um, so, right off the rip, I'll say, it's awesome. Michigan beat Wisconsin last week, but USC is going to be a whole different animal. So, we're going to kind of try something a little different here and go over that. Right off the rip, we're going to go over just how Michigan has progressed so far in the season and what they're going to have to do against a level of competition that they really haven't seen since Oklahoma. Um, Obviously, they beat New Mexico pretty, as they were supposed to. They beat them pretty solidly, and then they had the setback against Oklahoma. And I think that going to USC, with they're going to be playing in the Rose Bowl in Los Angeles, where USC is based out of. It's going to be another test for Bryce Underwood, being a freshman. 5 games in. Looking at a hostile crowd, hostile environment, and as we know, that didn't go so hot when they were in Oklahoma. Now I don't know. Obviously, it was not just him. It's a team game, so he wasn't fully responsible for that. But still, he's going to have to get used to playing on the road and playing in hostile environments. I think that's going to be really important. Obviously, beating Central Michigan, they wiped them out, but Central Michigan, so no shame to them, but not the highest level of competition. The game against Nebraska was far closer than it had any right to be, but Nebraska is a high level of competition, and of course they dominated Wisconsin. Realistically, that game could have been even more lopsided than it was. So they played really well against Wisconsin for the most part. I think in order to beat USC, Michigan is going to have to throw the ball. Our running back, like Haynes, is doing crazy good work. He's by all means possibly a Heisman contender at this point. It's hard to say because it's still a little early in the season, but he's putting up some crazy numbers. So you can't you can't lean on him only. You're gonna have to throw the ball more. And while Michigan has thrown the ball more lately, they're going to need to really test USC's secondary in order to be able to run the ball effectively, because otherwise they're just going to load up the box. So um, now that's Michigan's schedule thus far. I'm going to look at USC and see what they've done so far and kind of give us an idea. Hold on one second here. Kind of give us an idea of what they've done so far, what we can kind of expect from them. So their first game was against what was that? Montana or Missouri State. I believe it's Missouri State. If it is, that's their first season at the FBS level, so not much like a MAC school in many regards. Georgia Southern, they predictably beat them. So, and of course, they beat Purdue, Michigan State. They lost to Illinois, somewhat surprisingly, in my opinion, because I typically thought of USC as better than the mid-level Big Ten teams. So it was kind of surprising to me. So they've beaten the teams that they're supposed to beat with, you might argue, against the Illinois game, but they, 32-34, they kept it close. It was respectable. So, much like Michigan, they're beating the teams they're supposed to be and coming close to the teams that, even if they weren't supposed to be them, they're still respectable showings. So, in order to beat them, Michigan's going to have to do one thing really well. And they have the ability to do this, but will they? Only time will tell. They have to pressure the quarterback. Jordan Maivia is an excellent quarterback, and they're going to need to get rushers through that line. And their secondary is going to have to be able to hold just long enough for the superior, or at least what I view as a superior Michigan defensive line, and get to Jordan Maivia, because he has been torching teams through the air. And this is just a reality. You don't put up 32, 45, and 33 points, 59, 73 without throwing for a lot of yards and chunks of yards. Now, of course, they have a run game and all that, I'm sure, but it's not, yeah. is a legitimate quarterback, and they're going to need to get to him. That's going to be the key of the game. Get to him because he takes care of the ball and he throws a lot. Get to him, force turnovers, or if nothing else, forcing completions. Get him off the field because the less he's on the field, the less chance USC has of scoring. It's kind of how offense works, obviously. But yes, that's what they're going to need to do. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this. I personally think because Michigan's playing at an away site with a hostile crowd, and while Michigan fans do travel quite well, I think that this is going to be a close game. I do think Michigan is a better team as a whole, but I think there are some advantages to playing at home, as USC will be. So I think it's going to be a close game. I can see this being one of those 28-21, 20, odd 27-20 kind of games where it comes down to a touchdown or maybe 10 points, but as low as 3. Who wins is hard to say. Obviously, if you notice, I don't really like to state who's going to win. Even though, for example, Michigan's Central Michigan, it was kind of obvious. But I think Michigan is fully capable of winning this. If their trenches hold up and their secondary just enough, Michigan can certainly win this game. If I had to put money on it, I'm saying Michigan 27, Michigan 28, and USC 17, between 17 and 20, because they will score. They are a talented team, and they will put up points if you make even the smallest of mistakes. They're a good quality team. Even though they are ranked, I'm not sure why, but outside of losing to Illinois, they've been a solid team. So I think this is definitely could, if Michigan does lose them, it would unfortunately not surprise me, but I think Michigan is fully capable of winning this. So, like I said, the line is going to be really important. Michigan's defense is going to what's really is going to make the difference because while USC's quarterback is better than Michigan's in terms of experience per se, Michigan's rushing attack is overwhelmingly better. So that'll be interesting to see, but I think Michigan can pull this out. So that is my prediction for this game. Like I said, I think it's going to be between 7 and 10 point difference, and Michigan probably wins this. So that's my prediction for that game. Just real quick, and go through other games that are happening, and what actually happened this evening. But for the week, last week, I whiffed on virtually everything besides Michigan winning. There were some upsets that I'm not sure I could have told you in 100 years. Never in a million years would I said UCLA beating Penn State. So hopefully this week is better. I did watch part of the South Florida North Texas game. South Florida's quarterback is an animal. He's a big boy. He's good. I'm not sure those skills translate to NFL, but he's a solid college quarterback. I like it. It's fun to watch. He's fun to watch play. So, Florida State's coming off that loss to Miami last weekend. I believe it was like 2023. So it was a good showing, So I think Florida State pulls it out against Pittsburgh. Pitts doesn't have the greatest team this year. They've had some good players like Kenny Pickett and the rest in the past, but unfortunately not this year. So I think that's a Florida State win. We'll go Alabama, Missouri. I saw some people saying that this is the game to watch in terms of upsets. I like Missouri, but I don't think they're going to beat Alabama. I think Alabama's kind of they're on a hot streak right now. Ty Simpson's a legit quarterback. He's done great things since they lost to Florida State. I think Alabama's going to pull that one out, but hey, Missouri does it. It just shows just how much different college football is in the last couple of years. Ohio State, Illinois. I think Ohio State pulls that off too. Illinois is a respectable team. Absolutely. I think they're underrated a little bit, but 17 is right where they're at. And I think losing to Ohio State really won't change that much. maybe to drop a little down a little bit, but I think Ohio State's gonna win that based on the talent. So yeah, Ohio State's more than likely to win that one. Ole Miss, Washington State. Ole Miss should blow them out. I know Ole Miss has a always has a bad game and falls off the map about this time during the year, but I don't think it's going to happen against Washington State personally. So NC State, Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame wins that. NC State's not looking so hot this year. They're one of those teams that has good players, but as a team, they don't always quite gel. Iowa State, Colorado. I had that was one of the games I had wrong last week. I said that Iowa State would beat Cincinnati. Yeah, I was wrong about that, but I think Iowa State bounces back this week. It has a big game against Colorado, and really makes a statement. So Virginia Tech versus Georgia Tech. Haynes King is the truth. He's fun to watch. Georgia Tech football is back. Really fun to watch. I like him. So I think Georgia Tech will pull it out against Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech will keep it respectable, but I I think Georgia Tech is going to win. Indiana, Oregon. Whew, it's hard to tell. So Indiana does not have a greatest track record against ranked teams. They just, you know, occasionally they'll have a really good game, but I think Oregon is really set out to prove that they can win the big games, and they have all the talent to do it. So I think or Indiana's a little overranked, and so no disrespect to them. These kids are going out there putting forth every effort they can. So they're seventh for a reason now. But I think Oregon will probably do their best to blow the doors off Indiana. So I can see that going very badly for Indiana. But hey, I mean, like I said, no disrespect to them. They're up there. They're playing against a top team. Hopefully they can make a good showing, but I think Oregon's going to win that one. Um, Oklahoma, Texas. Oh man, Texas, man, that's tough. They start off so high this season, and that loss to Florida last week is just crushing. Um, Oklahoma is real. That's a good team. I know that their starting quarterback, John Mateen, I can't remember the name. He just had surgery like 2.5 weeks ago on his throwing hand. So I'm not sure he's going to be ready. Some people are saying he would be. But if he is, I think Oklahoma wins comfortably. If he's not, I still think Oklahoma wins, but I think it'd be I don't know whose backup is. You know, I still think Oklahoma wins, but depending on who's starting, I think that will make a difference in the deficit, the final score. But I do think Oklahoma wins that game. All right, Arkansas, Tennessee. Tennessee's going to blow the doors off Arkansas. Not a good team this year. Texas A&M and Florida. That's hard to say because Texas A&M is really legitimately very good. They played excellent against Notre Dame, and they've won their last couple games comfortably. I had them. I thought they were going to get upset last week. I was wrong. So I think they beat Florida, but Florida has shown that they can, hold up against some really good teams. So once again, I think Texas wins. Texas A&M, sorry, wins, but Florida keeps it respectable. Texas Tech and Kansas. Texas Tech is just playing. They're beating the teams in front of them. They don't play as strong teams, but they beat the teams that they're putting in front of them, and I respect that. So I think Texas Tech pulls this one out. I don't think that's going to be. I know Kansas has some talent, but I don't know. I think Texas Tech wins that. I already said, went over the Michigan USC game. Georgia Auburn. Georgia's gonna. Georgia's been smelling blood lately. They did not like that loss to Alabama. I think Georgia pulls that one out. BYU, Arizona, who knows? I like BYU, but Arizona is just one of those teams you never know when they're going to decide to show up. So I do. I think BYU wins, yes, but it would not surprise me if Arizona somehow pulls that one out. South Carolina, LSU, that's where the upset might be. South Carolina randomly wins these games every year. No rhyme or reason. So I think that one, if there's going to be an upset, that might be the one to watch. But after last week, who knows? All right. Arizona, Utah, Arizona State and Utah. Arizona State's that they have a lot of talented guys on that roster. I think they could. Sorry, I think they could beat Utah. Utah's hurting. They've lost so many good individual players over the years from those teams, like with Cam Rising. They had teams that had Cam Rising in that they're just not the Utah we're used to seeing. So down year for Utah, but I think they keep the score respectable. Probably an Arizona State win. So hopefully this week's predictions will be better than last weekend, and I don't look completely crazy. So that's my take on these upcoming games. And if I miss some, let me know. But yeah, hopefully we get to see some good football this weekend. And I hope everybody's having a great day and take care. Peace.